Back in 2021, I splurged on the 14-inch M1 Max MacBook Pro, fully loaded with 64 gigabytes of RAM and 2 terabytes of storage. It was hands down the most money I've ever spent on a piece of tech. But honestly, it's been worth every penny. This thing has been a total workhorse for my business. Reliable, powerful, and just an all-around beast. Fast forward to now, and I've been testing the 14-inch base model M4 MacBook Pro, which starts at around $1,600 USD or $2,100 for my fellow Canadians. The big news this year is that Apple is finally bumping up the starting RAM from 8 to 16 gigs. 8 gigs made no sense on a Pro machine, so that alone makes this a much better buy than the base models in previous years. Unfortunately, if you go the base model M4, you don't get the upgrade to the Thunderbolt 5 ports, making them a little less future-proof. But hey, I've been using Thunderbolt 4 for the past 3 years, and I'm perfectly fine with it for a few more. Obviously, coming from an M1 Max MacBook with way more RAM, I didn't expect it to outperform my current setup, but it's held its own. Apple claims the M4 can handle multiple streams of 4K video editing, and for the most part, I'd agree. In DaVinci Resolve, the overall experience is very smooth, and I've completed multiple projects here without major hiccups. But it does start to slow down once you stack on the video effects and transitions. Fan noise is pretty much non-existent and only kicks in when I'm rendering longer form videos. Also, as a content creator, I'm always going to give props to Apple for normalizing the full-size SD card reader on their Pro laptops. I don't get why so many Windows laptops marketed towards creators still use microSD. Video editing aside, the M4 chip is honestly amazing for all day-to-day tasks that you'd expect of a laptop. Heck, even the M1 is still more than enough for day-to-day stuff. I'm still using my M1 Mac Mini connected to my TV in the living room. On average, I use my laptop for about 3 hours a day, and this easily lasts me 5 days on a single charge. That's a massive jump from my M1 Max, which is a lot more power hungry. The M4 also drains very little battery when not in use, which definitely helps. I'm torn about the new space black color because on one hand, it looks so stealthy and everything but the screen and keys pretty much disappears in the dark, which helps me with focus. I feel like the complaints about it being an oil and fingerprints magnet are a bit overblown. It doesn't hide it as well as the silver, but it ain't that bad. What I don't love is how visible the dust is, and that bugs me more than the fingerprints. Now, we might not see a redesign for a couple of years, but it's still an extremely well-built and premium-looking laptop. The typing experience is great, and trackpad is awesome, and the speakers are probably still the best-sounding laptop speakers I've used. It would have been awesome if Apple added Face ID, especially with all that space in the notch. But yeah, it's still Touch ID only. The main visual upgrade this year is the brighter display, up to 1000 nits in SDR. That makes an already impressive mini LED display even more awesome. It ain't OLED, but it's still very good. They've also added an option for a Nano-Textured display for a little extra money. I thought the anti-reflective coating that Samsung was using on their devices was good. This might be even better. The amount of glare and reflections it cuts down on is something I think anyone can appreciate. If you do any work outdoors, yeah, it's a total game changer for sure. The only deal breaker would probably be that it introduces some slight grain on white or gray backgrounds. Some are going to be more sensitive to this than others. Personally, I go with glossy only because I rarely work outdoors. So this is running macOS 15, which introduces some features that will have Windows users thinking, what took them so long? They finally added window tiling, so now I don't have to download a third-party solution for something that should have been standard. Then there's iPhone mirroring, which lets you basically use your phone on your MacBook. I have to say, it feels more fluid than the phone link feature on Windows. Even on the same Wi-Fi, phone link always stutters and lags for me, and sometimes refuses to connect. So far, iPhone mirroring has worked every single time and is essentially stutter-free. There aren't many killer use cases, but it's been great for grabbing those two-factor codes and my personal favorite, dragging and dropping files between the devices, which is surprisingly seamless. It's also nice for using those phone-only apps while your phone can sit on its charger. Also, pro tip, You can resize the phone window with the Command, Plus, and Minus shortcut. Personally, I'm on Team Firefox right now, but Safari also picked up some new tricks, like the super satisfying way to remove distracting elements from web pages. Honestly, it's kind of unnecessary, right? Don't get me wrong, it's really cool and almost therapeutic to just Thanos snap those annoying ads away, but a good ad blocker would probably be more efficient. So, what about Apple Intelligence? I found the writing tools and summarizing features to be super helpful. I love how they're built right into the right click menu, making them more accessible and way more likely for me to actually use. On other devices, it's a lot of copying and pasting, which can really slow you down. Also, the recent update with ChatGPT integration has actually made me use Siri more instead of just hopping on Google or something. It's not like ChatGPT was hard to access from the web, but this definitely makes Siri more attractive. Image Playground isn't exactly new, as I've used similar generative AI from Google and Samsung, but yeah, I couldn't even get it to work properly on the Mac. Works perfectly fine on the iPhone though. But here's the thing. Apple Intelligence isn't going to be fully rolled out until like 2026. Right now, it feels underwhelming, but I'll hold off judgment until I can see Apple's full version for AI on their MacBooks. Overall, as you can tell, I don't really have many bad things to say about the laptop. The base model M4 MacBook Pro is now as good a starting point as it has been in years, thanks to brighter screens, great performance from the M4, and bump in RAM. If you're not completely tied to Windows for gaming or specific programs, then yeah, this is a high-end laptop that I have no doubt will last you 4 to 5 years, if not more. I'm heading to year 4 with my 2021 MacBook Pro and it's still chugging along just fine. I think a lot of people who jumped on the M1 MacBook train like myself are waiting for that design refresh in a couple of years. If you own any M-series MacBook, there really isn't an urgent need to upgrade right now. For most people, dropping 2 to 3 grand just to save a few seconds here and there doesn't make sense at all. If you're in a career where that kind of upgrade is worth it, chances are you're either not paying for it out of pocket or you can write it off as a business expense anyway. The advice of using our laptops until the wheels fall off or it's actually not allowing you to do your job properly is probably the best advice these days. A shiny new laptop is always nice, but the real question is, will it actually make a difference in your work? As usual, thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, I'm out of here. Bye! Hey, no food crying.